Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wish you all a very happy Sunday. I hope you all are having a very great time. If you remember in the last session, we discussed about AWS database services. In that, we covered relational database, non-relational database, data warehouse solution, etc. That is DynamoDB and DynamoDB, Redshift, and all those things. So today we are going to focus on Amazon Relational Database Service, that is RDS, and we will try to create an Amazon RDS instance. Let's get started. Basically, before starting, let's give an overview of what is Amazon Relational Database Service. This is just for you to get to understand it in a better way. Already we covered in the last topic, but I will be covering it again before we can jump to the demo part. What is Amazon Relational Database Service? So Amazon Relational Database Service, that is in short called as RDS, is a fully managed relational database service that supports the major relational database engines such as MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, SQL Server, MariaDB, and Amazon Aurora. So these are some of the popular database engines that Amazon RDS supports. These are open source databases here, like PostgreSQL, MariaDB, Aurora, etc. So these are the popular database engine that it supports. Why we'll go with Amazon RDS? Basically, using Amazon RDS, it has got lots of benefits that we covered in the last topic, and the common administration tasks such as say monitoring, backup, taking the database backups and software upgrades, database upgrade, capacity scaling, etc. It will be handled by AWS. So we do not need to worry about that part. Okay. So we can just focus on application part only, and if we want performance tuning, once we have RDS setup, then we can go for that. Then we have seen multi-AZ deployment option is there, so that that provides the high availability. And also we discuss about read replicas. So read replicas, we can scale it out. So basically each RDS will support 5 read replicas. Those read replicas can be in the same availability zone or cross availability zone as well, and we can promote. So basically how we will use the read replicas is, the read replicas will be offload the primary database workload, and read traffic will be handled by those read replicas. That is the major role of that. And we can also promote this read replicas to the primary database. That also we can do. So we'll see in the upcoming demo part on that. Then we also seen there is no upfront investment, and we need to pay just for the resources that we have used, and it provides very cost effective and resizable capacity. Okay, so that we have discussed. So before starting with Amazon RDS instance, let's try to understand what will be the workflow. So there are few steps, as you can see here. So the step 1 will be establish the database engine. Okay, so we will need to figure out which is the database engine that we want out of those 6 popular database engines. Then we need to establish the VPC. So VPC is a virtual private cloud. This is to elaborate that will using VPC we can customize our resources, and we can host the resource in the virtually private cloud outside of the regular default VPC. If you are not aware of that, then you can just check out my previous video on how to create the VPCs, so you will understand. After this step, we will step 3 will be create an RDS instance, and once this is done, then we will try to connect this application to the RDS database. Okay, so we will go for which are this various application that we can use to connect to this database that is created in the step 3. So we will work on the database, like we will try to create some tables, new database, try to insert some of the queries into that, and we'll try to read the data as well, and finally we'll try to monitor. We'll see which of the parameters are by default they're available to monitor this performance of the database. Okay, so in this session we are just going to focus on creating an RDS instance, because the video will be become very longer. So in the next session we'll try to capture on this, like how we will connect to the application to the RDS database. So that will be covered in the next part. Okay. And there are some key considerations that we need to understand before we can set up the Amazon RDS. So the first of all, as we discussed, it is creating a VPC, that is virtual private cloud. Basically, why it will be required is, say we have an application that is hosted on Amazon EC2 instance, and our RDS will be hosted on another EC2 instance. Okay, so if we want, we can create both of these resources in the, we can choose one VPC, that is a customized VPC. So we can either go for the default one which is already there, or we can create our own VPC and we can deploy the resources inside that we can consider. Then we can select about database engines. So as you can see here, these are the popular database engine that we already covered: MySQL, MariaDB, Aurora, PostgreSQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. So each database is having different characteristics, and we need to choose the database engine that will fulfill our requirement. Then after that, we need to consider about what will be EC2 instance class for Amazon RDS. So this will be basically, this EC2 instance class will host that Amazon RDS, and it will determine the capacities, things like what will be the CPU, memory, storage, etc. So if we have, see, since right now we are just going for a demo part, so we will just go with db.t3.micro or whatever is significant. However, in the production, we need to consider what will be the EC2 instance class, because that will determine the capacity or capabilities of the Amazon RDS. And after that, there are the security groups and IAM roles. So basically, security groups will control who will be access. It will be for controlling access to the database. Normally, the databases are kept in the private subnets. So only the application will be front end, and from the application it will be connected to the database that is in the private subnet. So application will be in public subnet and database will be in the private subnet. So we normally do not give access to the world to the directly connect to the database. So there will be 3 security groups that are required. Again, if you are not aware about the security group, you can check out my VPC video, you will understand. So security group, you can call it as a firewall, so network firewall you can say, and that controls what are the inbound and outbound rules in order to connect. So that will control the access to the resources. So there will be 3 security groups. One will be database security group, then VPC security group, and EC2 security group, which will be used to control the access to the database. We'll see that how the security groups are established, and their IAM, that is identity access management. These are the IAM rules which create and manage the credentials. Again, you can check out what is the IAM. Basically, IAM provides the who will be accessing. Security group will control the access to the database, but IAM will define who will be those users or roles who will create and manage the credentials. So that will be defined by this IAM rule. Okay, so now let's jump to the demo part. As you can see, I just logged into AWS Management Console. To under services, you can see, you can just search for RDS. So that is manage relational database service. You can see here I have opened it, and if you are opening this for the first time, then you can see this, the DB instances, all those things. Here we just need to click on create database. As soon as we click on create database, so the first step will be choose a database creation method. So there are 2 methods, one is standard create, another is easy create. So you can see there is little bit information below each method. We will go with the standard create, because in the standard create we will get to work on some configuration options, which includes high availability, security, backups, and maintenance. So this offers more configuration. And once we are familiar, that if we want to quickly create, then we can go for the easy create. So for this demo part, we will just go with the standard create. Engine types, you can see, as we already discussed, these are the several engine options that we have. Okay, so for this demo part, we will click on MySQL. Okay, and to the right side you can see there's some information about what is MySQL. Basically, MySQL is the most popular open source database in the world. Okay, MySQL on always offer these features of this MySQL Community Edition, so you can go through that. And once I select this one, Here you can see the engine version is MySQL 8.0.32. Okay, so you can select this is the 8.0.32 the most recent it seems. Okay, then we can go below the templates. These are there are again several options. Production, it uses default for high availability and fast consistent performance. Dev and test is if we are going to perform, this is outside of production, and this is for development of test. And free tier, this will use the RDS free tier to develop new application, test existing application, or get hands-on experience with Amazon RDS. So since this is we are going to just demo part, we will use it free tier, and you will notice one thing with production under availability and durability you can get all these options. Okay, same with the dev test, but once I click free tier you can see these options are disabled. Okay, basically these are the deployment options like multi-AZ DB cluster, multi-AZ DB instance, and single DB instance. So it will by default select the single DB instance. So why? Because see, multi-AZ DB cluster, this will create a DB cluster with primary DB instance and two readable standby DB instances, with each DB instance in different availability zone that provides high availability data redundancy and increases capacity to serve this read workload. So this is where you want a production database. We can go with this one. This is multi-AZ DB cluster. Another is also same multi-AZ DB instance, but that will create one standby DB instance only. It will create one primary and one standby in the different AZ in case of this one. However, the first one it will create one primary and two standby. Okay, so that is the only difference. This is DB cluster. This is not the second one is not the cluster, and this is a single DB instance. It creates a single DB instance with no standby DB instances. Okay. Now in the settings you can see the DB instance identifier. This is the name of your DB instance. Let me give the name as something like inventory. I want the database, my database to be called as by the name as inventory database. Here you can select the username and password, admin, and I will click on password. So I will do some password. This is the password, so please remember the password. Okay, and under instance configuration you can see again these are the DB instance classes: standard classes, memory optimized, and burstable classes. So standard classes is something like for the general workload. Memory optimized is something, as the name suggests, it is with memory optimization if required, then you can use this class. And burstable class is something like that will be bursted with respect to CPU threshold. So that is for burstable classes. That includes T classes. You can see here by default it is db.t3.micro. Okay. There are other also that we can select one as well. I will just go with the default one, that is db.t3.micro. Storage classes, that is what is the storage you want to be used here. There are options like general purpose SSD, GP2, general purpose SSD, GP3. GP2 is baseline performance data number volume size. Performance scales independently from storage for GP3. Provision IOPS for flexibility in provisioning, and magnetic. So magnetic one is not recommended. Okay, so please note this one. I will go with the general purpose SSD to GP2. Allocated storage, the minimum value is 20 and the maximum value is 6144 GB. I will go with the minimum, that is 20. And storage auto scaling. This option provides dynamic scaling support for your databases storage based on application needs. So as we were covering in this PPT, so there is auto scaling will be managed by Amazon. We don't need to worry about that. So say there is our database the storage is needs to be upgraded or storage needs to be added more. So in that case it will be auto scale accordingly. But here in this case I am not going to use this. I'll just deselect this one. Coming to the connectivity, you can see compute resources, choose whether to set up a connection to computer resource for this database. Setting up connection will automatically change connectivity settings so that the computer resource can connect to the database. So we have the option whether we want to connect to the EC2 computer resource or we don't want. Okay, if we go with the don't want, so which is the default one, don't set up a connection to the computer resource for the database, you can manually set up the connection to the computer resource later. So even we select this option, we can set up this afterward as well if we want to connect to this database instance. Okay, so we can set up that. Then network type, that is IPv4 by default I will go, and here I was talking about this virtual private cloud, that is VPC. Here we can select default VPC or our customized VPC as well, so you can go with either one. However, if you have default or you customize VPC, ensure that it has minimum 2 subnets and there are minimum or 2 availability zone and 2 subnets in each availability zone, so that we need to understand. And you can see here, after a database is created, you can't change its VPC. So VPC is something we cannot change once the database is created, so please take a note of this. Database security group, this is DB subnet group. Choose the DB subnet group. The DB subnet group defines which subnets and IP ranges the DB instance can use in the VPC that you have selected. So this will define, since this is the subnet group, the IP and subnet IP ranges will be determined by this one. I will again go with the default one. Yeah. Public access, see if we go with this public access, there are 2 options, yes and no. Yes, setting up yes, the RDS assigns a public IP address to the database. Amazon EC2 instance and other resources outside of the VPC can connect to your database. Okay, so if we set up this as yes, the resources which are outside of VPC can able to connect to this database. I will select yes here, and this is VPC security group, that is firewall. The firewall setting, we can go with this. There is a database security group I have already created. I will show you what is this DB security group. I will go with that one. One option is zero, no issues, so we can change this letter as well. For some reason it's weird, I'm not able to select this one. Okay, so default one got selected. Okay, I'll change it later on. Availability zone also, we can select which is the availability zone and just go with this one. RDS proxy is a fully managed, highly available database proxy. Improves application scalability, resiliency and security. We are not going to use this for this demo part. Again, certificate authority, this is optional as you can see. Database authentication, so how you want to connect to the database. So password authentication, authenticates using database password, so it means we can connect to the database using this password. Password and IAM database authentication is using authentication using password as well as user credential through AWS IAM users and roles. And if we select this one, password and Kerberos authentication, so this is basically a directory in which it has the allowed authorized users, and that will be used to authenticate this DB instance using Kerberos authentication. Okay, so that is the 3 options how we want to authenticate to the database. I'll go with the password authentication. Monitoring, it's just I will just will not go with this one, and the default one will be the default monitoring, because if we click on this one, it will be added to extra to the charges as extra. Additional configuration, you can just click and see what is the initial database name. Okay, let me give the name as inventory DB, and you can see here, if you do not specify database name, Amazon RDS does not create a database. So it doesn't allow to use this letters, numbers and okay, inventory done. Now that is fine. backup. So enable automated backup. So as you can see, so backups by default to be 7 days. Okay, retention, and maximum is seems 35 days. So we can, by default it is 7 days, that's the backup is correct, and maximum up to 35 days. This is automated backups. Okay, there's another option as well, that we can set up like DB snapshot, which is manual, and that, if we want the backups to retain beyond 35 days, we can go with the automated manual snapshot, that database snapshot that will retain this data longer than 35 days. So that we will see. Encryption, enable encryption. By default it will use AWS KMS, key management service. Maintenance, as you can see, enable auto minor version update. So AWS will handle this upgradation of the database as well as OS. Maintenance window we can specify, and at the end we can see the estimated monthly cost. Since this is Amazon RDS free tier, so this is done. Otherwise, if say we had selected the production RD or test template, then we would have seen some cost here. Okay, so that is the thing. And once these all things are done, I will just click on create database. You can see creating database inventory. So this is the name of our database, and that has been started. And normally this process may take up to 20 minutes for database to be created and available state. You can see the status is right now as under creating state, and once database has been created, we can see it as an available state. Okay, so I will stop the video for now, and we will connect back once the database state is under available. Hello guys, welcome back. As you can see now, this inventory database, if we scroll to the right side, you can see the status has been changed from creating to available. Okay, so this has been created. I will just click on this DB identifier, that is name of the database. Just click on that so that you can find what are the different parameters that are set up. Under connectivity, you can see the most important thing is endpoint. This endpoint we will use so that application will be able to connect to the database using this endpoint. And MySQL uses the default port at 3306. Okay, so 3306 the default port that it has used. Networking thing, you can see the VPC subnets that it is there. Security group, publicly accessible. Yeah, since we had selected the publicly accessible as yes. So these are some of the things. Under monitoring, you can see there is yeah. So you can see it uses the CloudWatch monitoring. Okay, and the things like CPU utilization, DB connection, free storage space, reliable memory, write IOPS and read IOPS. These are just by default metrics that it has shown. And you might be aware of that IOPS, that input input output per second. The IOPS is the most important thing when we talk about databases, because that defines the parameters. So write IOPS and read IOPS. The DB connections, as you can see here, right now it's showing as 0 because there is we have not connected to the database yet, so the connection is 0. But once we have made the connection, you can see this there is a change in this count. Okay, that you can see. Under logs and events, you can see these are the events that recently has happened, and there's the logs as well. So the logs are kept under this path, as you can see. Configuration, the configuration will define which are the other configuration, like DB instance ID means the name of this instance, that is the inventory. DB name is inventory DB. License model, you can see it's general public license. We don't need the license because this is as part of RDS that will be managed. Availability, you can see here it's no multi-AZ, it is single DB instance, because this for demo part we have done that. And the storage, it was SSD 20 GB that we had selected, and performance insights, so that has been turned off. So this is basically if we enable, it will give us the more in terms of performance, kind of more metrics with respect to performance once if we enable this one. Maintenance and backup, if you click on this, you can see auto minor version upgrade that has been enabled as part of our setup. And backup, you can see it's automated backup. So with backup there will be two things. One will be automated backup, so by default it will be enabled and it's default 7 days up to maximum 35 days. And another is if we want to manually take the backup, then it is called as DB snapshot. So the DB snapshot can be retained beyond 35 days. So that we will see. You can see here, there is the option that click take snapshot, so that will be manual, that DB snapshot. Okay. And tags, so I don't think any tags that has been assigned. Yeah, we don't have any tags in this resource. Yeah. So friends, I hope you got the point. Okay, so basically today we just wanted to set up this database, and since the video will become so longer, hence we are not going to connect using an application, so we'll use some application like Microsoft MySQL Workbench and other which are available tools to connect to this database, and then we'll explore the things further. Okay, so please go through this, and I hope you understood the point. Basically today we have just set up an Amazon RDS database instance. So we perform this step, creating RDS instance, and this step like connecting to the application to RDS database will be performed in the further that is upcoming lecture. So that will be again the demo part. We'll see how we can connect to the database, RDS database. So please go through that, and please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because the videos like this take some effort, so it will appreciate if you like, share, comment and subscribe. So thank you friends, take care and have a great weekend ahead. Take care, bye bye.